What's up guys, Jake Hutton from Fitness Culture. Today we're gonna be talking about one of our favorite days on the Fitness Culture Athlete and Power program. It's gonna be our dynamic effort training day. So we're specifically gonna be talking about just dynamic effort bench press and some of the progressions that we do to kind of get you up to the most advanced variations of the dynamic effort bench press. So there's a lot of debate whether dynamic effort training actually gets you strong or not, because you produce more force when you are lifting heavy, because it takes a certain amount of time for you to basically hit maximum force production. But really, from my experience, it's really that neural adaptation from moving quickly and that early phase neural drive that is going to increase, and that's what's going to help you. The quicker you can produce force, in my opinion, the stronger you can be, and the more that you can increase that force through the full range of motion. So when you start doing these dynamic effort bench press sets, you'll notice that if you're pausing off, let's say you're a powerlifter and you're gonna pause off your chest. If you practice moving fast off your chest, you're really gonna be able to explode that bar off your chest during those heavy lifts a little bit more. Obviously, yeah, the bar's gonna make you slow down and you're not gonna be going as fast, but just that ability to tap into that force as fast as possible, that's where we're gonna be able to get stronger here. And it's also just really fun to train this way. It's fun to break up in the middle of the week on the power program. We bench 3 days a week on the power program. One of them is just all dynamic effort bench. It kind of helps for me, loosens me up a little bit, helps me recover a little bit faster, and it's just really fun. You're basically doing a barbell plyometric, and it just adds some more volume to the lift, and it adds some fun to your training. So let's go over the progressions. There are a lot of people that say that this isn't really a good technique for beginners, and I definitely agree that if you don't have the movement pattern down perfectly, then you're probably not gonna wanna add explosive movement on top of that, because you're gonna be all over the place, and this will really kind of expose bad movement pattern if you are trying to move fast, because you're gonna be all over the place, right? But for me, even with younger athletes, once I start training them this way, it really does help them dial in their form a little more, and they've always got stronger faster, and it improves their coordination, in my opinion. So the improvement in coordination, it happens really quickly when we start doing these speed things once the movement is perfect. So if you feel like you've only been training for a couple years, I still think this can be beneficial as long as you have solid mechanics and a solid base moving into it. Then it's definitely gonna help your lifts. So the first thing we're gonna be covering today is just the beginning of our progression. So anytime we have someone come into the app with the speed bench, we're gonna start with just your basic pause at the chest, control it down, pause, and explode back up. So that's gonna look like this. So you're gonna control to your chest, pause on the chest, and then explode through as fast as possible. You wanna be working somewhere around 40% on this. The better you get at it, the heavier you can go. You can work with higher percentage of your 1 rep max. I can move 40%, the same as I can move even close to 70% right now, just the speed that it comes off my chest. Really, when you're first starting, you're gonna wanna use lighter weights, start around 30 to 40%, and you can really start dialing it in with whatever, kind of how you feel comfortable. And if you know that you're moving fast, you'll be able to feel it. If you're moving fast, then you can keep upping the weight a little bit. So that's the first thing we do. We start them off just a pause bench. Once people start getting good at that, then we just do single reps. We're just gonna drop down and explode back up. We usually keep it around 3 reps, because around 3 to 5 reps, you start losing power production. The progression is just getting coordinated and moving quickly, right? So once you feel like you're nice and coordinated, you're not all over the place, you can keep a nice high chest and a nice straight bar path, dropping and coming back up. And the next thing we do is we're gonna move to 3 reps in under 3 seconds. So usually the way that we program this one to make sure you're moving fast enough, you'll complete 3 reps, like I just said, in under 3 seconds. And we just start off with, we usually do like 5 to 10 sets of 3. We'll start off something that we know we can hit 3 times, have your buddy time you from the moment that you drop the bar to the moment that you lock out on the end of the 3rd rep. And as long as you're staying under 3 seconds, we just keep building the weight until you miss that 3-second cutoff time, and then we're just done for the day. After you've mastered that, you feel comfortable moving 3 reps really fast, then we start adding bands to our training. So I'll show you what that looks like. With the band, you're gonna wanna start off, especially if you don't have a huge bench press, you're gonna wanna start off with a really light band. You don't want this band to be so heavy that you're having to grind to lock it out at all. It's still be super fast bar speed, so make sure you're using a really light band here. The way that we set it up, for us, we have these pins that we can just use in the gym, so we just loop the band over like this. If you don't have a pin, then usually try to find like the heaviest dumbbell in the gym. You'll loop it around the 100-pounder and then just set another dumbbell on top of that, and that'll keep that dumbbell in place for you. All right, one more thing with the bands that I didn't mention is you wanna make sure they're set up in the exact same plane on both sides. You get a nice straight line across, and then also that it's gonna be set up right where your chest is gonna be hitting on the bench. So If you have your band set up too far back, it's gonna pull you into the rack, or opposite, if it's too far down towards your belly button, it's gonna pull you forward. So you wanna make sure it's right across your chest, right where you're gonna, that straight line with the barbell. So the first thing we got with the bands is just gonna be that single rep with a pause. The bands are gonna be a little bit harder to control if you've never done them before, and that's why you wanna start off with an easier progression on these as well. All right, the next thing we got is it's gonna be just a single rep, pausing at the top to reset. The best thing about the bands, especially in this scenario, you're able to drive all the way through the weight. And so once we get to those 3 reps, once you get really good at it without the bands, you'll notice you're almost pulling the bar back down to get it moving fast, right? With the bands, you're gonna be able to drive all the way back through, and the band's just gonna pull it right back down on you. All right, the last one's gonna be just 3 reps in under 3 seconds again. So this one, I really like the bands for, because like I said earlier, right when you lock it out, it's gonna be pulling you back down, so you can really execute this as fast as possible with the bands. All right guys, that wraps it up today for our dynamic effort bench press progression. So we love using these for our power and athlete program in the Fitness Culture app. They're great for athletes because the faster you can produce force, the more explosive you're gonna be, and the better it's gonna translate to the field. Hope you guys can use this in your training. If you guys wanna check out some of our other videos on bench press, plateau busters, and things like that, we got some videos right up here. Click right up there, and thank you for tuning in.